thinking about this in the last few days, about the questions that I've I want to ask you. However, I keep coming to the answer that they've
Yes.
all been answered because my questions have been answered. And that's, man, it's been magic. It's absolutely, I don't like the English language now.
Yeah.
My
Where,
my
where are you originally from? What is your first language?
So my first language is my native language. It's named pretty much named after my tribe, but it's Tuhourangi. That's my father's language,
Okay.
which I was born into. That's my father's tones. That's our tribal tones.
Right.
Uh, Tuhourangi, and my mother's tones are. I've only just recently started using this terminology, but my mother's tribe, or hapu, we call them.
Mm.
Um, and a hapu is the English kind of equivalent is a sub-tribe,
Okay.
uh, but it doesn't mean the same thing. A hapu or sub-tribe in this context is an independent nation. So in 1835, it's the same. It was all based on the Westminster system as well. So we signed a Declaration of Independence in 1835.
Okay.
But yeah, with the crown.
Is that
But
Australia? What or New
no,
Zealand?
New Zealand,
New
New
Zealand, right.
Zealand. So
Okay.
we're the only, well, according to our history,
Yeah.
my story,
Yeah.
my story.
Yes.
Uh, we're probably the first of the indigenous
Okay.
uh, peoples to have a treaty. Not a treaty, actually pre-treaty, a
Right.
declaration of independence.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was a direct partnership or alliance. I don't like any of those words because it's neither.
Right.
Um, but we kept our sovereignty along with our culture.
Right.
In fact,
Okay.
we couldn't keep our sovereignty unless we kept our culture.
I see. I see.
Mm. So I'm born into bloodlines on both my father and I was born into the ranks. Um, Not the highest of ranks by blood,
Yeah.
but because there's so much gaps in knowledge of our culture
Yeah.
that it's just naturally given the responsibility to me and my siblings.
Right. I see.
Yeah, so I'm the oldest boy um, from my father who taught me everything. In fact, Panabab is the only man alive that reminded me of my dad.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was born to a man like Panabab. I understand that my dad wasn't Tehuti
Yeah.
incarnated, but he was definitely one of the beings, some other being,
Mm.
because there's no other man that I've heard speak like my father other than Yanun.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And
So
that's how
how
I,
did you come across Wu-Sabat?
you, you and Asaru's reaction video to uh, Terrence Howard and Billy Carson on the Joe Rogan show, of course.
Right, right. Okay.
Comment was when Billy Carson was saying like about the Sumerian tablets and all of that stuff, and Norma, whatever they're called.
Yeah,
I'd been studying all of that shit for freaking, I don't know,
a long
20
time.
years.
Yeah,
Long time, long time. I knew about this stuff. I was born into it.
right.
But as the internet started coming out, I saw. Well, anyway, fast forward to yours and Nasari's reaction. It was magic because Billy Carson had said, "But we don't know what it sounded like." sounds like. Then YouTube paused the video and had this little giggle,
Uh,
reminded me of me and my bros just sitting around, kind of not judging people,
yeah,
but going,
analyzing.
he doesn't know. We've got a secret that they don't, that the rest of the world don't know. And when I saw you and Asaru go, we know it's
Yeah.
called Musbatu,
Yeah,
and they mispronounce the word like Igigi or
that's
something, and
right.
you
Yes,
and
I
him,
remember.
you and Asaru would come in and say it properly, and that's what got my attention.
Right,
It's like
right.
these brothers know where they getting. They're either blooming being born into the culture, because they're just using different words that,
Mm.
but it's
Yes.
the same knowledge. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's
You
the power
opened
of
up my
Panabab
eyes.
Yanun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because of him. And just
absolutely.
lately, in the last couple of weeks, his image keeps popping up in my head every time I start thinking about my father, which is almost every moment, to be honest.
Right.
Um, yeah,
So obviously, yeah, you know that your father's just crossed over. He's still
yeah,
alive and you can connect with
yeah.
him, of course. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
all right, great, great. So yeah, is there anything in particular that you wanted us to talk about or that you want to know, or do you have any
I just wanted to
questions?
talk to you, to be honest. I just wanted to
Yeah.
connect to you because I've got a lot of like plans that I want to put into place.
Okay.
And I know Wu-Sabat is part of that
Mm-hmm.
because I know it is. Um, I actually wanted to, yeah. I've been trying to work out the questions in my mind, and
Yeah, I
oh,
mean, we can just do what people normally do, which is just flow, have a conversation, and if there's
please,
anything that pops to your mind or anything
yeah,
regarding Wu-Sabat, the master teacher, the doctrine,
yeah.
yeah, then just ask and I'll do my best.
So, I think it could be more along the lines of an education tool for the masses, because I know a lot of people will be watching this.
Mm,
And I did think about, well, the questions that I would ask will be on behalf of those who are still in search
right.
of themselves, because
Sure.
there's a whole lot of my people, in fact, still 90% of my people live in the urban areas.
Mm.
Can I show you around my little abode?
Sure, feel free.
Oops.
Yeah, that's great.
So I live basically traditionally, but in the modern world.
Right.
So I live in the middle of the bush. I don't
Okay.
uh
So
there's a
you're
good
you're
view.
you're you're in tune with nature.
Yeah, yeah. So I can't see it very clearly. My camera's it's because of my background's
Yeah,
blurry.
you got your blurry background.
Yeah. How do I that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
back behind
Yeah.
me is the sea.
Wow, you got a lot of greenery. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So I literally live in the middle of the bush. It's my
Okay.
driveway.
Right.
Yeah. But of course, I wear not very traditional clothes. But I'm always
Whatever makes you
walking.
comfortable, eh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to give all of their clothes back, but
Yeah.
I'm doing it very slowly because I've been colonized and westernized.
I know
Um,
we all trying to get
yeah.
that monkey off our back.
Oh, mate, it's a
Yeah.
monkey, all right.
Yeah.
Um, but since finding Wu-Sabat, that
So, are
monkeys.
there any other people in your local jurisdiction or community that are into Wusabat as well that you are working with or want to kind of
So
have like
I'm
a
gonna say no.
okay.
My brother listens to me.
Okay.
Yeah, but but we're so focused on our own culture that we're bringing our people in through that door
Yeah.
first.
Okay.
So I took a leaf out of uh Dr. Malakai's book, and wow, I thought I did, and I was going to join the Anglican Church because traditionally that's the church that my people they translated my ancestors translated the King James version of the Bible and pretty much said this is wrong.
Mm.
This didn't happen. And so
Yeah.
we translated it into our own tones. And the two different the versions are very, very different.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so but I always thought of that scene when I heard him say it, I come to give what you want, so you
Can learn to
can
want what I
have
have to
yeah,
give.
what I
Yeah.
have to give. Yeah. That just stuck with me. I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this?
Yeah.
Um, without turning up just like yourself.
Say that
It's
again.
without having to turn up in front of my people just like you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
you know what I
Because
mean?
yeah,
Because
I
it'll just
mean,
put people off. I know it will. It'll be like, what? It's not
representing
our
the culture.
traditional garb, you know?
Right.
But so I can also make and weave our traditional garbs,
I mean,
but
cultural attire is much
important.
better than wearing European clothes anytime.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And I've been thinking about that lots lately.
Mm.
It's just that I'm feeling a bit alone in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you once you start the momentum will build and other
Yeah.
people will, gravitate towards Wu-Sabat. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
know that's going to happen. I
yeah,
know that's part of my purpose of being here
yeah,
on this plane of existence.
absolutely. So we need to spread it
Yeah.
wherever. And New Zealand,
Yeah.
I don't think, yeah, it's good to have a seed that we can grow in
Yeah.
New Zealand. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. And
Mm.
if that's me, then that's me. And I'm so happy about that. I'm so grateful that
Yeah,
it could be me
yeah,
to
exactly.
start it off here.
Hmm.
Um, I just got the nagging. It's not a nagging feeling. It's that feeling of yep. This
Yeah,
is this is
like
this is
a
another one of
calling.
your roles. A
Yeah,
calling here.
yeah,
It
yeah. That's
always
fantastic.
happens. It's happened all my life. It's like
Mm.
and but there was many years where I ignored it, and that's where I became, to the point of wanting to unalive myself.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
what language could we use on this one?
No, that's
Anyone, eh?
fine. What you said is
Yeah.
great. Yeah, but I know what you mean because until Partner Babyanun came along, it was kind of like people, including myself, just thinking. And even, I mean, I was listening to another class from another brother on Clubhouse today, and he was saying that, um, well, the question was asked, and I think many people have asked this, even when I've had one-to-ones, they've asked things like, well, if we were the supreme beings and we're the original beings, etc., how is it that we allowed six ether forces and six ether beings to kind of like subdue us to the point where even till today we don't seem to be, in we're like at the bottom of most of the whether it's the economic structure or whatever
Yep.
structure, and to relate to what you were just saying, it's like when we as African people look at how we're treated worldwide, like especially considering the contributions that we've made to humanity, in every angle, whether it's music, creativity, inventions, whatever. It's like we couldn't figure out why we're being so badly treated. And up until I came across Partner Babyanun, it was like, what is the point of all of this?
Yeah.
Like it seemed like there was no hope. We're not getting anywhere. We're abused constantly. We're at the bottom of the pile. And of course, coming across Partner Babyanun just makes you realize, wow, like this is the change and we have something to live for. So
Mhm.
where people will get that, that feeling or that notion of an alive in themselves because they just feel like this world is just nothing, it's not going anywhere. It's just like, yeah, we're just stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
He just manages to change all of that, and you now know who you are, where you're going, what your culture is, and the job that we're here to do, which is to save humanity and bring Wusa
Yeah.
to the world. And that alone just makes you get up every morning and wanting to live and share this good
Yeah.
news of Wu-Sabat. So I can definitely relate to what you're saying. But anyway, so yeah, I'm glad you didn't, and you're still here with us. And now you
Yes.
have a major, job ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool, and I understand because I've got a very good command of English. As like I'm like yourself. You don't become a doctor. You don't, for no reason or all.
Right.
Um, you had to go through university to earn that title.
Absolutely.
I know that. I
Yeah.
know you can't just use doctor
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely. But you know what's
so
interesting about that term? It's like it can be used in so many ways.
yeah,
Um, Although people look at it from more of the academic point of view,
yeah,
it's more about a doctor having the cure, do
yes,
you see, to help and
yeah,
yeah, basically help people from the illness that we're all suffering from, which is
yeah,
really these Adamites and the six ether forces and the draconian ways of their life without having that empathy, ashuk, which is divine love and care for humanity, abusing different people, the planet, poisoning the waters, cutting down the trees, the
mm,
rainforest, just like polluting the air, the water, killing the animals for food, wars for all sorts of reasons, and it just goes on and on and on. So yeah, it's kind of like Wu-Sabat is the medicine, and the master teacher is the doctor with that medicine, and
with
we're
that
like
medicine.
here to assist him
Yeah,
administer the medicine. So
yes,
and cure the world of this sickness, because everybody that is about peace and love, they need truth. You can't really sustain that lifestyle without having truth, and that's what Wustabat is here to do. So there's nothing more noble than to have that title of, being able to be a doctor and to cure people by way of the teachings of Wusabat. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, man, I'm still just blown away that I'm sitting here having a conversation with you. Um,
I'm your fellow servant. We're all students, and
yeah,
we have to always remember that everyone has a part of the puzzle.
mm,
Everyone has something to contribute. It's just
mm,
about you tapping into your hidden potential and then bringing that out and then sharing that with the world and fulfilling your purpose. Because as you know, we didn't used to go through this cycle of reincarnating over and over and over again. And so, you know, having the ability to kind of find out what your purpose is and then helping humanity is the way you're going to break that cycle and not having to come back. And although people might look at, what is my purpose? And it could take someone a long time to establish what exactly that is. But really, it's whatever your calling is, what you feel you think about all the time, your passion, what you want to do. But more importantly, is the fact of being a part of Wu-Sabat and assisting the master to be free and to bring Wu-Sabat to the world. That in itself is a big service for humanity. So people might think, oh, what do I need to do not to come back? But just doing that, being a part of the community, being a part of Wu-Sabat, being a part of spreading the word and helping other people. Even what we're doing here, you never know who you're going to touch or reach from doing this video. I see you're a musician as well. You've got a guitar there.
It's a pause there. And I've seen a couple of your. I've seen one clip when you had your fingers on your guitar. And I was,
Yes, yes.
man, this brother can play.
Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing because with Wu-Sabat, everything is about tones and vibrations and frequency, and of
Yeah.
course our tones of FAC.
Yes.
So,
That's where my question is my tones. I just found out. Uh, so I was listening to a one of our birds singing yesterday. And well, it ended up being an F sharp minor or
mm,
A major key.
right.
Um, and we based our tones and our song to pass through knowledge on those on I think it's F sharp minor. I That's where I want to go is to know exactly whether I can use the FAC.
Mm,
I know I can, but whether or not that is part of my direct bloodline tones,
hmm.
if that makes any
Well,
sense.
yeah, the thing about it is that because Wu Sabat is dealing with nine ether and
Mm.
nine being the highest, it means that those three notes, as you know, connect the C connects you with the cosmos,
Yes,
and that's everyone is a part of the cosmos,
right.
even though they may be at different degrees or different densities, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the F obviously connects you with nature. So
Okay.
again, if you're on the planet and you're part of nature and you're tuned into nature, then you're
Mhm.
gonna also resonate with that. The A is for the tone of the vibration of the body, the frequency that the body vibrates on.
Uh,
So all three of those notes will actually connect you. So yes, anyone who is below can still feel and be in composite in the nine.
got,
Even when you're
got.
looking at those, because the reason I say nine and how important the number nine is because if you know, as you probably do, being a musician, each tone, right? So the F itself has three tones. So you
Yeah,
have, people.
sharp, natural, and flat.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah,
So you got the major, which is the F, and then you'll have the flat and you'll have the sharp. So
yeah.
that gives you three. And then it'll be
Yes.
the same with the A, which will have again flat, major, and sharp. And then the same with the C,
See,
which will
yeah,
be major. Even though with the flat, we know if you're using the major scale or scale in general, it'll be a B, but it's still a flat. And
yes,
also, obviously, the C sharp.
yeah.
Now, that's nine tones just from those three tones. How do
Wow. Oh,
you,
yes.
you
Ah,
you get it? Right.
yeah.
And that's just one nine. And then you also have,
Holy
if you
crap.
take the scale, right? The do, re,
Yeah.
mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Yes.
That gives you eight notes. This is
Yes.
adding the octave, right? So if we
Yes.
start on the C, C, D, E, F, G,
Yep.
A, B,
Right
and
back to
then the
C
eight
again.
is C.
Yep.
Now, if you then played all of those eight notes together, it gives you the ninth tone. So
Can
that's
I try
another
it?
nine. You
Can
get
I
it?
try it?
Yeah.
I won't be able to do it because you need all.
It'll be hard to do
I
it
haven't got enough
on the
fingers.
guitar. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
hold on. I got 10 fingers. So
on the keyboard it's easier because
yeah.
in the key of C you could just hold all of
I
the
see.
the white notes from C to C,
Yeah.
and
And
that
then
will
just
give
put
you
it
that,
there.
yeah, that nine. So the
Yeah.
nine keeps repeating. Yeah. And if you were to actually, play um play every note chromatically, it will
Yes.
be again a similar thing because, you
It's all
know,
fractals, isn't it?
that's exactly where I was going.
Ah,
Yeah, it's all
what?
fractals. Because even though we will say F sharp, F major, and F flat, and and each note, you
Mm.
realize that the Western kind of instruments are tuned to middle C, which is
Yep.
440 hertz,
Yeah.
which obviously has been sped up.
Yep.
So my point is that if you play an instrument that, like the guitar, which maybe didn't, let's say you're playing a fretless, which doesn't have the frets,
Yes.
you would kind of be getting approximation of where the tone is.
Yeah.
So any degree off where they would normally have the fret to play that note
Yep.
would be slightly off. So the way I try
Slightly
to
off.
look at that is how colors are. So
Yeah.
let's say each note was a color, which actually is because each vibe
Yeah.
is a vibration, right? A
Yeah.
frequency. So
Yeah.
um it isn't as strictly like, although when you're playing on the guitar, you're just slightly behind the fret to get the cleanest sound, as opposed to kind
Yes.
of touching on top of the fret. But
But that's
it's the
probably
variation,
exactly
as
the
you say,
spot.
when you say the fractals. And so there's no limit to, like, if we was to take a color like green, there's so many different shades of green. And it's the same with the notes when you're playing. That's why if you watch like people that play in like the double bass or like the fretless bass guitar, you can get different tones and sounds that,
Mm.
yeah, you wouldn't normally get if you're kind of like being restricted to the temperament that the instrument is tuned to, which scale is used, or even like trying to position your finger to be like exactly where you're taught. So
Yeah.
what it does, it brings about freedom because when you're being creative, you don't have to follow the rules. So we learn the rules so that we can break them,
In them.
which is which is a lesson that most kind of new musicians would probably not get what you're saying because
Nah,
it's like, why do I need to learn all these rules? But
that's
there
right.
isn't anything such as a wrong note.
Yeah.
It's how you make it sound right
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
context
Yeah.
of what
Yeah.
you're doing, you see. So,
They have sound right
but yeah, you have
reasoning.
to learn the rules so that you can then break them. Yeah,
Yep. Oh my gosh. Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Do you sing as well, or you just play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a music teacher
Oh,
by
wow.
trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm also so my career has been in teaching.
Okay.
I've only just been able to retire financially in the last month,
Okay.
actually, because
Mm.
my crypto has kicked in. I've been part of crypto for the last, well, since its inception. I read the white paper, the
Right.
Bitcoin white paper when it first came out,
Mm-hmm.
2009-ish, 10-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, same like me. We have a lot in common.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
When you are having interviews, I'm like, this is it's like almost exactly the same experiences because you seem like you don't look it.
Yeah.
You seem like you're in your late 40s, early 50s, maybe even
Correct. Yeah,
60.
you're absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're as like listening to you, but I was like, because I'm both from the hood and the wood, as we
Mm.
say.
I hear
Um,
you.
yeah, I
Yeah.
grew up in the woods, but also because of my parents were teachers, that got me around the country.
Mm.
So I know all about the different cultures because it's
Yeah.
pretty much the same thing. It's just
Mm.
a variation in the tone, then what we call meter or dialects.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So I can, speak two languages, obviously English and my native tongue,
Mm.
but I knew early from a young age that all the Pacific Islands are the same language. It's just got different letters and a little bit
Yeah,
different.
different accents and
Yeah, or
tonations.
even
Yeah.
the accents is all of the old people from all of the different islands sounded the same. They just had either l
Mm-hmm.
instead of r,
Yeah.
r, or ho instead of haka. So
Yeah.
it's like once you understood your own language, then it's
You
easy to,
can on pick up
yeah,
the
yeah.
others.
So
Yeah.
I was born with both languages, English and what we call Maori. It's called Maori, but we never called it Maori is a new word like Egypt.
Mm,
Like it's
exactly.
like it was only made up in 1800, barely 200 years ago.
Mm,
And I'm like, you realize that we never called ourselves Maori. They
yeah,
needed a word to name us. And the
exactly.
word Maori that we use today, its origins means normal. So we will combine the word Maori and Y. Y is water,
Okay.
water.
Mm,
And you can't, oh, because there's variation in water. You can either use it in ceremony for spiritual purposes or just drink to sustain it,
yeah.
just to say sustain your physical body. When it's used in that way, it's called Wai Maori.
Okay.
Normal water you can use for your physical body,
Mm,
but we'd say Maori for everything, and that was normal on this physical plane as opposed to the non-physical plane.
non-physical plane.
Yeah, yeah, there was always that separation.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
distinction. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As you know, the master teacher teaches and explains, teaches us in, I think it's in your potential,
yeah.
either your potential or the mind scroll, where he's explaining how water, like you just said, is how
The
significant
mind.
water is. Yes.
It was the scroll of the mind. Now, just to lay it out on the floor, there were two tablets that I got a hold of on the PDF line, and I didn't pay for them.
Right.
But I'm making up for that because I went and bought me three pataraks.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
We
last
we
week, I've
always,
already put them in,
yeah.
and I'm going to buy the holy tablets or whatever. It's just like I knew I wasn't in a financial position back then,
That's fine. That's fine.
four
It's
long
about
weeks.
getting the information out ultimately, but obviously
Yeah,
we also have to deal with a lot of the piracy and
yeah,
copyright infringement of Parnababyanun's intellectual property,
yeah,
because it's
absolutely.
really to help sustain and build the culture and, because if we don't have a way of sustaining ourselves, then we can't actually then grow and make more books available and things like that. So, but yeah, anyway, what I was saying about water, as in he explains that water is always going back home to water. Water is free, and you cannot contain or restrain it in any way, because no matter how much you try to contain and restrict it, he explained that even if you put it in a container and lock it tighten and seal it, if you come back years later, it would have escaped, because
Yeah,
obviously it transforms from physical to liquid to gas,
yes,
and
yeah,
then back to ether. So when you look at the universe, hydrogen is predominant in everything, other than ether, of course. So yeah, water's always finding its way back home, and it's free, and that's how we are as well, which is why this is more of a water planet, and we
yes.
contain more water in our body or liquid than anything else. So
Mm,
yeah, it's amazing when you start to look at how water can be so calm when you're by the stream, and it's just calm, and you can meditate, or even when you throw a little pebble into the water, you see how you know it, the waves just expand, and then in 1 second that same water can turn into a tsunami and destroy anything in its path.
yeah.
So, yeah, water has that nature of being very calm, soothing, like you said, used for spiritual rituals and work, for bathing, for drinking, hydrating us. And but at the same time, yeah, it can just be used in a way to protect you as well. So water is really amazing. So I'm
Mm.
glad that, yeah, what you were just saying. What we
It's
say in our
it's
work.
really interesting too because our word for ether is Wai Rua. And if you translate that, back
Mm,
into English, the Y means water. But the rua means two, both the female and male
mm,
element.
right.
Yeah.
Mm,
It's like, wow, okay. Because I think that is ba'a, maybe, or ka'a. I can't, I
ba'a for
couldn't.
soul, yes. And
Okay, yeah,
ka'a
yeah,
for
yeah.
spirit, yeah.
Okay, ka'a would be, I think, more. Would is ka'a also translated into English as ether,
Spirit.
spirit, which is ba'a,
No, soul is ba'a.
ba'a. Okay,
So
and
so you have four words. Khatat, which is the body.
oh
That's
yeah,
that's that's body, and then
tinana.
you'll have the ka which
Uh-huh.
is the spirit. Then you'll have ba'a, which is the soul, and then you
Yeah.
have ach, which is the ether.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because I think in my language, tinana is the body,
Hmm.
wairua is what allows animation,
Okay.
and Modi is probably is your individual perspective of,
Personality. Yeah.
yeah, your personality. That's Modi.
Mm.
So which one is that out of the four?
That would be the ka'a, the
Ka'a,
spirit.
yeah. So
Yes.
Modi is ka'a.
Yeah. But remember that we have it depends on where you're translating from, but
Yeah,
you have two words for for the spirit and you have two words for the soul. So,
yep.
obviously in the religious world, that would be for the spirit, that will be nafas or nafish, yeah.
Mhm.
And then that, as we say, is ka'a. And for the soul, it will be ruah or ruha or ruch, ruach in the Hebrew, which would be, as we said, the ba'a for the soul.
Holy hell, because the Hebrew word it sounded like ruah,
Yeah, ruach.
ruah,
Yeah,
which is
ruh, ruhu,
for
ruach.
us. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
But the thing
I'm,
is that because, as we explained, that Wu-Sabat is the root, and although we're not saying completely forget your culture, because even on our land on Tamaray, Egypt of the West, we brought all the cultures together. So we had all the flags,
mm,
when you came in through the pylon, we had all the flags representing the different, like cultures of African countries and around the world. And so I'm basically saying that we have to be able to learn, as you said at the beginning, you're already learning Miss Batia anyway, the language, and we should, as much as possible, we as the adults have to do this two-step translation. So we always associating a word in English or
mm,
from our language to the word in Miss Batia. So there's always
yeah,
that two-step, but the children that will be growing up, if the adults learn, they will just learn it straight away. So you don't
yeah,
have to say, oh, water, and then in Miss Batia say moye or moya for
yeah,
what, for water. You just
yeah,
say the word moya or
yes.
moye. So I'm basically
That,
saying that, yeah, it's for us. It's gonna take time, but we know that when children learn a language, or when we learn a language, we didn't need someone to explain and give you a book and say this
yeah,
word means this. You just picked it
yeah,
up by
yeah,
hearing it and hearing the tone. And after a while, you just, through repetition, you would know it, and you build that up as a part of your vocabulary. And as you grow, you just add more and more words, and then you're just fluent in it. You don't
yeah,
need to be taught if you're around people who are speaking it fluently, you see.
yeah.
So we recognize that it will be generations to come, and if we've already got a generation that grew up in
Yeah.
Wu-Sabat and speaking it fluently, so we know it's working, it's possible, and yeah, for those of us who are still learning, we do our best based on even when we don't know how to pronounce the word properly. The
Yeah.
master teacher, Pana Babianun, Dr. Malachi Z. York, teaches us that it doesn't matter. For now,
Yeah.
use what words you know, pronounce it to the best of your ability, and in
Yeah.
time you will get it. It's more about using and utilizing the tones as much as possible to help, recalibrate you. So yeah, language is
Mm.
very important and very
Oh,
key to
yeah.
our
And I didn't
development.
actually realize how important it was until, and they just recently funding Wu-Sabat, and the more and more I listen to you and, oh, well, the information passed on from Pana Bob,
Mm,
um, is it's like it's actually the most important thing that I didn't realize because I was one of those children that grew up naturally learning my language,
yeah,
where 99% of others had to go somewhere else and learn it through the universities and schools.
right.
But to put things in perspective, my three siblings, oh, three older sisters and youngest brother,
Yeah.
on both our mother's and father's side, there's 120 of my generation, and only five of us knew our language and fully immersed in our culture.
Mm,
Out of, that's
wow.
less than 5% of us who know
Mm.
our true tones, and passed
But at
on by.
least it's kept alive and it can be
Yeah,
passed
yeah.
on.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I wake up every morning because you explained it perfectly, because I know that from experience watching the next generation, because it was an unsaid thing between my parents and us, that we totally immersed the next generation
Mm,
in only our language first and foremost, until they started responding in English from around about 8 or 9 is when
right.
they starting to with start a communication in English. But it usually would be a response from our own tones,
Mm,
and then they would
yes.
respond back
And
in
and that's
English.
how most people start to kind of forget their language because
That's
when
right.
they come or they're involved in, the society where like English is
Is
predominantly
dominant.
spoken,
Yeah.
in the schools, wherever you go, then they start to feel embarrassed to use their language. And so when their parents are
That was
speaking to
me.
them, they will just respond in English as opposed to. So
Yeah.
you find a lot of people that can understand and they can hear their mother's
Their
tongue,
tone.
but
Yeah.
they can't speak or they feel shy that they're not pronouncing it properly after a while. But
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
that's one step down in terms of you
That's
can
right.
understand, but you're not speaking. And then
Yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah.
don't have
And so
someone
I've made
around
that
you,
concerted effort.
yeah,
I've made the concerted effort to speak to, especially my niece, my nephews, my direct bloodline
yeah,
from my father, which turns out to be 30, 15 of them fluent, fluent
that's
speaking.
good. And
Yeah, yeah. So
that's what we want to achieve with
yeah,
Wu-Sabat.
that's and
Yeah.
so my experience and that and your experience as well. I've seen what you've achieved.
Mm.
Well, with I mean, helping Panabu with Tamare.
Sure.
Tamare is like, actually, I've got space here in New Zealand for one of those if you want.
Wow. Yeah. We're
Honestly,
trying
I've
to.
been thinking that. I was like, man, I've got 10,000 acres just here.
How many acres?
10,000.
You have 10,000 acres. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
At my
That's a lot of.
disposal, because, well, not my disposal, at my tribe's, because I'm a spokesperson for my tribe.
Right.
I've got the highest
Yeah.
seat
Yeah.
in
Tell us a
the
little bit
council.
more about that because
Yeah.
you
So
you'd be
I've been,
surprised. We time, we're almost out of time already, but it's fine. Let's keep going because
Yeah.
we want to have communities, stores
Yeah.
in as many places around the world as we possibly can to spread Wu-Sabat. So yeah,
Yeah.
having that land is something definitely that can be utilized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know there's pyramids here. I know where they are.
Mm.
My
Yeah, there are actually
uncle,
pyramids all over the world.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's no
And
surprise.
yeah, they just seem to focus a lot on the Giza plateau because that's
Yeah,
the most recognized, and the fact that they line up with the Orion, the belt
yeah.
of
So,
Orion
so I
star.
hold the title of chief here. Um,
Okay.
but not just by myself. My brother has that title as well, but
Mm.
just because I'm the older out of the two, it was passed on from the high chief, who was brother to my mother.
Okay.
So yeah, so he's passed the responsibilities down of my mother's tribe to me and my brother and my sisters, of course.
Mm.
My sister is the Mātāmuas or the Tāpaiouru or the highest ranking of the elder ladies. She's
Right.
in her 60s now. Still too young. Ideally, we wouldn't be in this position until another 30 or 40 years. But
Right.
as circumstances in the last
Yeah.
100 years have,
Okay.
dictated.
What is
Yeah.
the interaction or the relationship like with like the government and in relation to you guys in terms of your tribe and stuff? Is it something that you're left alone pretty much, or is there
We're pretty much left alone.
and they recognize your um indigenous
Sovereignty.
sovereignty? Yeah.
Not until one of us says they'll question it and like, uh until you get to sit down at the same table, that doesn't really, it's not really a part of the. We do have small interactions with the local council,
Okay.
but they have to come through us if they want to do anything.
Mm.
We exercise our sovereignty at probably only a few other tribes around that are aware of it, and only those who live on in their homelands understand it, fully
Mm.
understand it, and live it.
Right.
So we're on a very small scale, only 200 of the, say, 3,000 descendants actually
Wow.
live on our homeland. So there's room for many, many thousands here, but
Wow.
only 200 live here.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we
That's
own
interesting.
everything. Oh no, we don't own everything. We're owned by everything, and we work with everything. So even though they deforested the place in the 1800s, it's back to its almost natural state. Nah, it
Mm.
is. It's in its natural state, other
Right.
than a few introduced species over the last um and they yeah 50 or so years, 100 years.
Mm. So
Mm.
what scrolls did you say you've read or you're reading or you've obtained now?
Holy tablets. I need to read that more, but when I started reading it, all I could hear was the tones of my father, to be honest.
Mm.
Um, uh, I watched the video and listened to the video, so I haven't fully read the Holy Tablets.
Yeah, it's
I
quite
fully
a read,
read
isn't it?
the Mind.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, I'm
Um.
saying the holy tablets is quite big. It's a lot of information, so it can
Oh yeah,
take a
yeah,
while to
yeah,
digest.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it just reminded me of all of the scriptures that I went through because were my who I was named after.
yeah.
He was the first magistrate to inscribe in English.
Okay.
Well, first of our within our own tones,
Yeah.
and then oh no, he didn't even translate it into English. He wrote it in our own tones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. He never actually No, there is no English translation. So we got the original copy of his handwriting because my father grew was raised by his daughter-in-law, whom he passed the manuscripts to. And
Okay,
then my father was chosen to be given that information because his proclivity was
right.
he
So
was
it's
able to
passed
hold.
down. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and then he passed it on to me
Mm.
from the
Okay.
womb
I
when
was
I
asking, so you said you got some part tracks as well, right?
yeah, yeah, I haven't received them yet because I only put the
Oh,
order in
okay,
last
okay. I thought
last
you,
week. Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So I'm
cool.
really excited
Yeah,
about
yeah, they
reading
should be
them.
coming. Yeah,
Yeah,
because yeah, I thought, you would have had a lot more questions on Wu-Sabat, but like you said, it's like when a master, it's like even myself or other student teachers, the master's like he put out so much information that really you should not be asking him a question that he has already answered in the book
yeah,
because it'll be like it's already in the book. So that means you're either not studying or, you
yep.
know, and
Or
when
you
you
didn't
try to
understand
think
it
of
in
a
the first
question to
place.
ask him,
Yeah,
you have to be like you, every question you think about, you think he's already answered it. So
yeah,
you have to
yeah.
really come up with a question that,
That's right.
yeah,
And that
that he
was my
hasn't answered.
difficulty,
Yeah.
as I couldn't formulate a question because everything I read and heard, I I understood
Mm. And it kind of answered your
theoretically,
question. Yeah.
but not experientially. So I understood that, see, understood that
Yeah,
I'm still underneath the knowledge because I haven't put it into full practice
sure.
to for it to become overstanding.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm still struggling. There's still three main things that I'm struggling with, and it's my addiction to marijuana,
Mm-hmm.
um, and vape, the nicotine,
Mm.
and I'm still not fully clean. And I mean, I just finished 3 days of eating horribly
Yeah.
bread. And
It's
oh
work
my
in
gosh,
progress. And I always
oh
say to people, it starts first of all with willpower, right?
yeah,
Your mind, you have to make a decision that you want to actually stop. It's
mm,
easier to say it, but if you really want to stop, you have to start with that commitment and conviction
yeah,
because
yeah,
people wait till, if they were like, if they went to say to see a GP, general practitioner, they're still practicing, but if they went to see a doctor or someone and they said to them or went to the hospital and they told them, if you don't stop smoking, you're gonna die in 6 months or something,
yeah,
some arbitrary time frame, they will be
mm,
motivated to stop. So there
yeah,
has to be something that the why of why you want to stop. I think that helps. And then once you have that mental conviction to stop, you
yeah,
will stop.
yeah,
There are obviously things you can do because you have to look at a habit becomes an addiction after it's repeated over and over and over again. And what it does is it actually creates a groove in your mind. And so you have to really overcome it with your mental power, first of all. But things like cravings, that's what addictions are. It's a chemical reaction. You can actually, if you want to stop, you can use things like green apples, for example, because
yeah,
green apples, they contain like the pectin in the apple, it helps with cravings. So every time you felt like you wanted to smoke, you could actually just eat a green apple,
yeah,
which will kind of help with diminishing the craving. And at the same time, they tell you an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So an apple is a healthier alternative.
yeah,
And yeah, so there are ways and things you can do to reverse the groove or the programming. But you really have to look at, if you look at things from an unselfish point of view, because it's a personal experience when somebody is, taking something that gives them that instant gratification, like, when they're taking that high, whatever it is, that at that moment, it's just you and you yourself going through and experiencing that. Now, if you had to think about you're here for a purpose, which is more than you, the things you're here to do, they need you to be here. Or if you had, say, children, and your children need you to survive so that they can be able to come to you. I'm just kind of giving you a few examples of like how you can think of reasons why it's not just about you. It's about, your children. It's about the people that you've been sent here to fulfill a purpose for. And when you start to look at things from that perspective, you'll be like, the why of why you want to stop will become a lot clearer. So yeah, so that's why, we say you have to really look at the mind and
Mhm.
just dissect, okay, why do I do it? What do I get from it? And the thing with instant gratification is that it will fade away. So whatever the high is, well, it's like people going on holiday and thinking, they have problems and issues and things they need to solve, but they think just going on holiday is gonna,
So,
get rid of them. But of course, you'll be away for 2 weeks or whatever. And once you come back, you come back to them anyway. So,
yeah.
if you're on a high, it wears off, it comes back down, you still have to face reality. So it's easier to tackle it straight and be like, yeah, I figure out a way to have a natural high. And I feel like Wu-Sabat gives you that natural buzz, because
Mhm.
there's so much you could be doing, like learning the language, as we've spoken about,
Yeah.
so many books to read and study. Um, just like researching and yeah, if you're just so engrossed or preoccupied with studying, you really have no time and
No time for it. Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
silly stuff. But
Yeah.
I'm glad the main thing is you're aware and you're working on it. And first
Yeah.
thing is to be awareness, and then, like you say, the acknowledgement of, yeah, I've got to sort this out, and then you
Yeah.
work towards doing it.
That's where I'm at right now. Everything you said is
Yeah.
what I'm going through. It's like I sit there knowing and knowing that I I'm going to be one. There's going to be a time where I don't need any of this. I've just got to put the hard work in right
Yeah,
now
that's right.
and work my way out slowly. That's just how it is. It's, as
Yeah.
frustrated as I get,
Yeah.
um, I
Yeah.
still know that I have to go through this. There's no other way.
Mm.
I got
Yeah.
myself to this point. Like it's that sub whatever I'm holding down,
Mm.
it's bloody strong, and it doesn't want to let go. It
Yeah,
doesn't want to show itself.
you're part of your ancestors,
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
29 or less
yeah,
personalities.
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's like,
it
man,
can be quite a challenge, but you can do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can, and I know it. I know I've been pulled through. My life has been saved just because of that mere fact, and it's been fast. It's just getting. It's just this point. It's like one time where I was having a spirit walk. I nearly lost myself, but I remembered my tones, and and that was my straight lineage,
Right.
right straight back, and I just did that over and over and brought me back. So. Um, that's one
Absolutely.
time, but I gotta keep
Yeah, it's
continually
a
doing
journey.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, this is like no, come
Yeah.
on, kid, come on, you got this, man, you
You got
got this.
this. You got this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it'll happen, but oh God, God, blimey, you're a stubborn one, all right, you're a stubborn one.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some of them that you have to really work on.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think tauta. Tautat. Is that
Tautat.
how
You're
I say
saying it
it properly?
correctly, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
I just can't
takatir
spell it.
ako.
I don't know how to spell it with the scribbles. So it's like, Rahubat.
Yep.
I can hear
Yeah, yeah.
it.
I mean, that's the best way to hear it. And
Yeah,
yeah. But it helps as well if you can write it and if you can read
yeah,
it. So all of the
yeah,
three combinations, speaking, hearing, and writing are all
yeah.
necessary, you know.
That's another one of the exciting aspects of it is to be able to converse fully and fully
I
like the
hear
life.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We
It's
all
like,
want to get to that stage. And
mhm.
it's all a work in progress. We're all learning. So yeah, everyone's at different stages when it comes to the language. So, you know, it's great. At least we're all learning. Yeah.
You're a busy person. I know you're a busy person and you've got things you
We
probably have
got a
to
lot of
attend to.
work to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm currently waiting for some of my digital asset, yeah,
Okay.
crypto
Yeah, I
stuff.
know
So
you
that's what
spoke about some things we could work
yeah.
together on, so we can take that offline, obviously, and keep the conversation.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Please, because I've had a good conversation with King.
Yes.
I'm teaching him how to use crypto, and I'll jump on the admin side of things, like
Yes. I
just as a
mean, I got
moderator.
some things I can share with you as well, but definitely
Yeah,
we
for
gotta you know figure out ways of sustaining ourselves and
yeah.
yeah. So
Um, I think I've got it figured it out. I've figured it out now, just in the last month.
mm,
How we can sustain ourselves because it's the same plan my brother and I are using to fund our tribe to
okay.
be because that's all we were missing was the financial freedom aspect with
Right.
the unlimited. We had it 100 years ago with the gold,
Yeah,
but it's with cryptocurrency now.
that's
Um,
right. Yeah.
yeah, so I can't wait till we sit down to. I'm probably gonna fly over to you.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Or if we get a chance to come there, but it's
Well,
such a
either way.
big time difference.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
let's
exactly a
definitely
12-hour time difference, right?
yes, that's
You're in
right.
the shadow times. I'm in the light times now.
Shadow hours, yeah, exactly.
Shadow hours,
Yeah.
and yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just come just over 10 p.m. now. So yeah. But yeah, I'm very grateful to you for reaching out to come and have this conversation. And it's always refreshing to speak to somebody new that has been touched by the master teacher, Pana Babyanun. And it's just good. I think there's nothing more. I mean, I pass on whatever, you know, messages and comments we get from people all around the world. And he loves to hear and know about, you know, how Wu-Sabat is reaching the world. You know, so yeah, it's great when we meet people like yourself in New Zealand, or you know, so far away, and yet
Yeah,
you're touched by Wu-Sabat, so that's fantastic. Yeah,
yeah.
so thank you so much for your time and for yeah taking the time out to. But we'll keep
I
this. Yeah,
shook Wadu.
I shook Wu Wadu Zamal. Yeah.
And my language is Aroha Nui Roatu. Aroha Nui Roatu. Ashuk.
What does that translate as?
Ashuk.
Okay, divine love.
Ashuk.
Yeah,
Aroha. Divine love. Divine
Hua.
love. Aroha.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Or
right.
in Hawaiian, aloha.
Yeah.
That's what that truly means.
Okay.
Divine love.
Yeah, I mean I remember the master teacher sharing the symbol that is known as hua. And it's like it's the one that looks like a bicycle. And he showed us from just that one symbol, which is a universal symbol, which means love. But I'll share it actually, I'll share it with you. But in
Yes,
that
please.
symbol, he showed us how you could actually see the word love in every single language from that one symbol. So the whole, you know, notion of one a picture tells 1,000 words is amazing that
Mhm.
that hua symbol, which looks like it's like a bicycle. It looks like a bicycle. Um,
Mm.
yeah, you can literally see how the word love could be translated into pretty much every language,
Yeah,
and you could see it. So I'm gonna dig that up and I'll share it with you, and I may share it in the Telegram group as well for those that
please.
are not familiar with it. But yeah, so the language of love is what Wu-Sabat is spreading and want to share with humanity. So Tawuat, until next time,
Until
we'll
the
say
next time,
Wadu.
what do?
Tawu, Wadu. Peace.